All right, in this video, what I want to do is break down a summary from an amazing book that came out last year called The Sales Innovation Paradox by Dr. Howard Dover. If you haven't checked out that book, make sure to use the link below to find it on Amazon. It's not an affiliate link, it's just going to be easier to find it on there. It's an amazing book. He has done some great research and put together a lot of things that, in my mind, make sense and put words to things that I wasn't even thinking about, where it's a concept that lays it all out. Now, here's the big thing. As Dr. Dover points out in the Sales Innovation Paradox, we are living in a time of increased sales innovation technology. There is so much technology out there, from email marketing, sales enablement, automation. Then we've got AI, we've got outreach, we've got emails, we've got phone calls, we've got text messages. We've got so many things that are going on, so many things that are available for modern salespeople in the way of technology that should allow them to grow their sales business, grow their sales pipeline, and produce even more closed business that generates revenue for themselves and their. However, as Dr. Dover points out in the book, with all of that technology and tools available, sales goal attainment is at a terrible point. The data that he has in the research says that it's less than 50% of sales professionals are achieving their quotas and goals that their company has assigned to them. Now, how could that be? With so much technology, we would expect a lot more results, right? More technology, more innovation should lead to an increase in efficiency and effectiveness and then revenue. And if we look at another point in our history or another process where this does play out, then it would make sense that it would work in sales, right? Typically, if we take a factory, a process, something to do with operations, something to do manually, and you add automation tools and technology and specialization to that process, you will get increased efficiency, effectiveness, and revenue, and potentially profit. If we look at the invention of the modern assembly line as a huge step from one person, let's say building a car or something in particular, to it going down the assembly line that we're all familiar with now, and everyone is doing their part, or there's different pieces that are being done in a certain order, and then you get a much greater output. When you take someone and you have that one person do part of the process 8 hours a day, and then hand that product to the next person in the line for them to do their part 8 hours a day, that specialization creates such an efficiency and effectiveness that you're going to get increased results. And so, as you would expect, that specialization helps. Tools, technology, robots on the assembly line mixed with people doing their parts, you get a better output. Now, that doesn't happen in sales. Why is that? Well, the main reason is you're up against a human, right? You're not dealing with inanimate objects that you can force to do whatever it is that you want to do in the assembly process. You are dealing with a human, and that human has their own way that they want to go through the process. As the research shows, can you believe that only 17% of most buyers' journeys involve dealing with a salesperson? Or that a staggering 43% of buyers prefer to make purchases without ever speaking to a sales rep? So you have all these tools and technologies that you're using to get access to that potential buyer and start a conversation to lead to your sales conversations. And then you have that person on the other end that doesn't want to deal with a salesperson. In 2021, it took an average of 21 calls to get someone to answer. And perhaps most alarming is, how many calls do you think it takes now to get a hold of anybody? Especially given the fact that post-pandemic, most people aren't in an office that you're trying to reach, which means you have to call them on their cell phone. And their cell phone is going to show who's calling, and they can easily not answer that call if they don't want to. How many people that you know answer their phone no matter what when they're being called, especially by someone they don't even know? How many people love getting emails from salespeople trying to start a conversation and how many people respond to those emails and are excited about it. Here's the thing, the world of buying has changed dramatically. But the problem is that most sales approaches have not. They have stayed the same. And here's the other part. Today's B2B buyers, if you're selling to a business, you think that person is different than the way they are or the way that you are in your normal consumer life. But here's the thing, and this is why I say it's always H to H, right? It's human to human, not B2C or B2B. Is that person that you're calling, you're sending emails to, you're putting in an automation, you're adding to a funnel, a sequence, you're sending LinkedIn messages to, the one you're trying to talk to, they are the same person in their business role and the way they want to buy, the way they want to interact with someone that they are as a consumer. We all are. It's not a thing where someone, myself, I go to work, I clock in, and then I put on my business buying pants, right? Like all of a sudden now I'm a business buyer. And so I'm going to buy things differently. Of course, unless someone works for a government or you deal with RFPs or something like that, that's not your normal buying. For pretty much everything else, that person you're interacting with wants to buy the same way they want to buy in their personal life. It's called the Amazon effect. They want to be able to research and find what they need, look at the options, figure out what makes the most sense, and then if they have to, they will deal with a salesperson, but they really don't want to. Amazon and all those online retailers, especially with lots of reviews and unlimited options, have spoiled all of us into thinking we are in control of the buying process. And it's not wrong. We are in control. The buyers of the world now are in control. What sales used to think was their power, which was knowledge and information, has been taken away from them because of the internet, right? Not just post pandemic, but because of the internet and because of how much data and information is on there. The world can search for anything and find anything. You can easily just type in any question, right? How can I help my team sell more? What's the best marketing automation tool? What's the best CRM for plumbers, right? You can search anything you want. Type a question in into Google, look at the options. You can go to a video, you can read some articles, you can see some lists that like HubSpot loves to do, where they do a compilation list of all the technology or all of this or all of that. You can find all of it. It's all there. So here's the problem, is that the person you're trying to sell to, you're trying to reach out to, that you'd really love to talk to, they know they have the power. They have knowledge and information and they don't need you. In the world that we live in, since they don't need you, they feel two things. One is they're self-sufficient. They can find answers to their problems and solve their own situations to help fill in whatever it is they need at work, just like they would in life, right? I don't know how to change my light bulb in my car. Watch a video. It's like plugging into the matrix. 45 seconds later, I know how to change the light bulb in the car, and then I'm just going to do it, right? Buy the part, put it in there. Or I watch that video and go, no way am I going to be able to do this. I need to find somebody, Google who to find that person and have them do it. And I'm in complete control of everything, right? I'm no longer worried that I take my car to the mechanic and then they're going to tell me some things and I'm going to be unprepared for that, right? Because I know that I have information. So that's the first part. Part number two is that because of this, most people view everything as a commodity. Everything is replaceable and everything is similar enough where the competition is widespread and we know that we have control, right? If I know that I can search for anything, right? Let's use the the light bulb in my car, right? In the headlight. Let's use that as an example. And so if that's the case, right? I just order a light bulb. I don't really care what it is. I'll read some reviews on Amazon and I'll put it in. If I need to have someone do it, I will Google it. I'll look at this and I'll be like, hey, this is what I need done. Here's what is that going to be? And because I'm in control, I see everything as a commodity. I can order anything. I can buy anything. I can hire anybody to fix anything. Like It doesn't matter because it is all interchangeable. So, if that's the case, and in your sales process, you're trying to sell to an individual at a business, but treat them like there's something different and they need you to explain everything to them and they need to go through your sales process in order to get what they want, you are wrong. And that's the problem with modern sales and sales teams is that they are still approaching potential buyers the way that they always have. Now, here's an inside tip. This might shock some people. It's never really worked at scale, right? Here's the problem is that for some reason, sales processes are built around how salespeople and companies want to sell. As Dr. Dover points out in his book, there is a gross misalignment between what salespeople put in stages in their pipeline. Think about your CRM, if you actually use one. Hopefully you do. Think about the stages you have in there: prospect to lead to appointment to discovery to quoting to negotiation. Some people have negotiation in their pipeline as a stage, which means they're expecting to negotiate, which that's terrible. Why would you expect for there to be a problem if if you're not doing your job right in the first place? There shouldn't be. Okay, that's enough. That's another story. So there's a terrible misalignment with the sales pipeline because as sellers you have these categories. It's just the way it's always been done, and it's just you making others play your game, right? You have to fill out our form on our website to get access to me so I can tell you what the price is because I don't list it on there. All that's terrible. Then if we look at how buyers want to buy, right? First they have to understand, do I have a need? If I have that need, do I want to actually solve it? Now, if I want to solve it, is it urgent enough? And then there's going to be their researching phase. And then they're going to see, okay, can I do this myself or do I need someone else? Can I buy it or do I have to talk to someone else? And then what's my decision-making process? Those different pipeline stages do not match up, right? What you have in your CRM and what humans want to do as a buyer in the modern world do not line up. And that's where we have some of the problems. That misalignment, as well as sales using some scalable technology as the approach that they think will work with modern buyers, is why so many companies are struggling and so many salespeople fail to hit their numbers. All right, so all of this terribleness, that's what's going on in the state of the world. If you have been in sales for some time, you know that's the case. You know that's what's going on. You felt that, you've seen that in your numbers or in your team's numbers, but maybe you didn't have the framework or the understanding or the language around exactly why that was, and now you do. So part of that is from Dr. Dover's book. Some of that is just based on my experience and what I work with teams on as well to help them fix that so they can increase their selling effectiveness. Now, what can you do about this? First thing is you need to line up your pipeline process and your marketing and lead generation and sales conversations to match how buyers buy in this day and age. Stop making them go through your hoops and meet them where they are. Okay. Number two, buyers want to do more and more research. Again, 83% of the time, they're going to take themselves through their buyer's journey, not your buyer's journey, their buyer's journey, without even talking to you. It's at 83% of the journey, then they're going to engage with you and most likely just tell you what they've researched, tell you what they're thinking, get your opinion, see if they trust you, see if they think that you care about them enough to give them an unbiased opinion, and then they will move forward. But the majority of the time, right, we're talking 83% of the journey, they are doing it on their own. So you have to become a master at that 83% so that they put you in the list of people they're even considering and they're thinking about as a possible vendor, a possible solution. How do you do that? Content. It's all about digital content, right? And whatever that looks like, some of it is your own branding, company branding. It's going to be ebooks, it's going to be blogs, it's going to be videos, it's going to be podcasts, it's going to be social media, it's going to be thought leadership, it's going to be speaking, it's going to be writing, ebooks, books. It's going to be everything and anything that would put you into the arena when someone does that search. When that person says best CRM for plumbers, where will you be in that list? But both the promoted ones, right? The sponsored, the paid ones, and the organic ones. Where will you be in that list? And how do you make sure that you're at the top of the list? Now, here's the problem. Most companies, most salespeople, they don't want to put in that much effort. They don't want to do that work. They don't want to create all that content. They just want to make calls, talk to people, push people forward, bribe people into closing before the end of the quarter. They just want to do whatever it takes to close deals, but not that, right? They don't want to actually put in that much effort. They just want to close deals. The problem is that no longer works at scale. You can get some people to do that. Every once in a while, someone might answer. Every once in a while, you might be able to push someone forward in the process based on your requirements and rules and flow and not necessarily what they want. I promise that's not going to work enough for you to hit your numbers. And the data clearly shows that. You have to become a master at creating some level of digital content out there in the world so that people, when they're in their buyer's journey and searching, will find you and or your company and or your product. You must put that out there like billboards everywhere so that when somebody is thinking about it and searching, they find you. And that's a tough one. That is a lot. It takes a lot to do that, right? There are other ways. Channel partnerships work well. There's all kinds of things you can do for referrals, but you have to be able to get your name into the game as soon as possible when someone's in that researching phase. Otherwise, you're going to lose. The chance of you winning, if you're not in the arena and then you come in at the last minute when they're just finally talking to people, is going to be tough. In the book, in the Sales Innovation Paradox by Dr. Howard Dover, he talks about examples, one being Microsoft, where one of their European teams, they totally changed it up, went digital first, and did a lot of the content and put a lot of thought leadership out there, and how much it increased their sales. It takes a lot of work, but so does anything if you want to be successful. And so you can try to make 1 million cold calls with a dialer, or sending 1 million emails, or sending 1 million LinkedIn messages and hoping that that's going to work in your scorched earth strategy. It's not going to work anymore. I was going to say, it could work, but it's not going to work anymore. I see those people all the time on LinkedIn. It's like, I've sent 1 million emails. Ask me about that's terrible. Think about that for the world, right? I saw somebody, I think it was 100,000, or maybe it was 1 million cold calls or something like that, where it was like, hey, I've made 100,000 cold calls, that's terrible, right? That's absolutely terrible and unscalable. And two things: no team can handle that without getting burnt out, because that's a ton of rejection. And B, the world doesn't want it. It doesn't work. People no longer have to answer their phone. You can't ambush them by calling them at 7:30 in the morning before the front desk person, gatekeeper, shows up. So you can slip through in the phone tree and get to their desk. And then they're just going to answer because they're at their desk and they answer every call because they never know what it is. Those days are over at scale. Sure, some people are in the office. That might work some of the time, but not enough to be successful. You're not going to phone tree, gatekeeper, bypass your way to success anymore. So please stop. The world wants you to stop. We all want you to stop, because remember this: when you're not in sales mode, when you're not at work trying to sell something, you are a customer and a buyer and a consumer in your own life. What do you want from the world of sales? When you're a customer, what do you want? How do you operate? How do you buy? How do you like to buy? What do you want? I recently did a video and a blog called Telling is Selling and No One Likes to Be Sold To. And of course, there's some people out there in the world of sales that love being sold to and love being hyped up and love the battle and love being pitched. But that's super rare, and generally not effective. People like to be pitched, but this means they actually want to buy it. They just love the game. And then they easily just reject somebody who tries that anyway, right? So, how many people out there actually buy from a salesperson who's just pitching and pitching and pitching instead of meeting that person where they want to be met? And so, the big takeaway from this book for you to put into your sales process, and I'm happy to help you. Send me a message, reach out to me somehow, link in the description below, and all the information on how to be able to reach out to me. And so we can start a conversation to help. Take away this: buyers no longer have to go through your process. They are in control of the buying process. If you want to be successful now and in the future with modern buyers and the way that they want to be talked to and presented options and how they want to discover things on their own, you need to change up your complete strategy and meet them where they want to be met in order to be successful.